Okay, so moving on, we will move into our game of the month.
Mhm.
This month, we each got a chance to dig into our new Kickstarter of Tiny Epic Dungeons. This is a 1 to 4 player game, plays roughly 30 to 60 minutes, which for a dungeon crawler, I think is great and actually
Mhm.
accurate.
Mhm.
Um, Designed by Scott Alms. Artist was Artist is Nick. Shush. How I am about names. Nicoletta Vecini and Ian Rostaller. Rostaller?
Rostenthaler.
Rossenthaler. There you go. I see that S now. Published by Galen Games this year, actually.
Yep.
Or
Okay.
Rosenthaler. Either way.
Rosen. Whichever. Okay. So, Tiny Epic Dungeons. Let me just
Mhm.
give you a quick overview of it. This is not by any way, shape, or form an actual rules breakdown. I just want to give you a feel of how it plays, and then we'll discuss it. So, Tiny Epic Dungeon is a cooperative game split into 2 acts. In Act 1, the heroes explore the dungeon, they fight enemies, evade traps in their quest to find the boss's lair. In Act 2, the heroes actually engage in an epic battle against the boss. Like most cooperative games, there are many ways to lose, but only one way to win. The dungeon is initially set up with the card depicting a set of stairs and 4 face down dungeon cards set on each of the 4 sides of it, with the rest of the dungeon deck set to the side, along with the goblin cards, minion cards, loot, and spell cards. The dungeon deck itself is set up in a very specific way with a number of cards that are added based on the number of heroes being played. It is seated with the boss's lair entrance card and the minion cards equal to the number of heroes, which all must be defeated before the loss. Gosh darn it, I cannot talk today. Before the boss monster's lair can be entered. You wouldn't think that sentence would have been so hard to say. All right, so on your turn, you can move between rooms. By doing so, you're exploring new rooms as you go. You can perform one hero action, such as using your weapon to battle the goblin you just woke up when you entered his room. You can disarm a trap, or you can rest to gain back those precious health or focus points. Each turn, you can also perform any number of free actions, such as sidestepping that trap you didn't want to disarm the last time you walked through this room, or trading in focus points to manipulate the dice rolls so you just might actually be able to beat that goblin you just woke up. Each dungeon card has passageways that lead into other rooms. Well, hopefully they lead into other rooms. Some dead end and you have to turn around. One way to lose the game is to run out of open passageways before you find the boss's lair. Each dungeon card features either goblins or traps, sometimes both. While the goblins are typically easy to defeat, they can become a nuisance really fast. Another way to lose the game is to become overrun with goblins. Turns are tracked on a torch mat. So there's one card set off to the side with a little wooden torch that tracks how many turns have been taken. The torch basically depicts how quickly your torchlight is running out inside this dungeon. The torch burns down one spot after each player's turn, not each round, each player's turn. Many of the spots on the mat depict something else that will happen, such as a goblin spawning on the entrance stairs, or every monster on the board moving and or attacking.
Attacking.
Yes, a lot. The third way to lose the game is to run out of light, to have that torch reach the end of the mat without having beat the boss monster. Now, once you finally get all the monsters defeated, then, well, goblins not included, you have to defeat the minions. Then you can flip over the boss monster card and see exactly what you've chosen to fight. We've hit the dragon twice now. I don't know how we've gotten so lucky, but we've gotten the dragon twice now. But there are all sorts of monsters in this, some of which I really don't want to face. But once you've reached that boss's lair, you can flip over the boss card and see what you've got. And then you can enter the boss's lair. The boss's lair becomes a whole new room with new bonuses that you can take. The boss typically has 8 points of health times the number of players. So they can get kind of hard to defeat all on their own. But if you can get lucky enough to defeat them, Sometimes you have to take them on a merry trek through the dungeon to a portal to do a ritual so that you can defeat them. If you can manage to do that and defeat the boss, that is actually the only way to win the game. That being said, personally, I think this is one of the hardest dungeon crawls I've ever done.
We're a fat O4.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys gotten to play it?
3.
3, and you've lost every one. Okay.
We didn't even get to the boss monster last night.
Yeah, we didn't. No, we did actually get to him.
Yeah.
And we took him on a merry chase through the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even get one hit on him.
We actually thought we won the first gameplay.
Yes.
But then we found out we did
played several things
because we played the trap cards wrong. The trap rooms.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because the first, when you go in, you have to do that skill check right off the bat to make sure you don't take damage.
Right.
So we thought the way we read it is if you did that, now you can unlock it. You don't have to worry about the trap. The trap's just extra stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd go through and now we can just continue to pass through this. We don't have to worry about anything.
Nope. No. Yeah, you actually have to spend the heroic action to disarm it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we discovered after the fact that we did several things wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I was going to say, we've pretty much come to the conclusion that this is actually one of the more in-depth Tiny Epic instructions, rules that we run into.
Okay. Well, let's start there. Let's start with the rule book. So I actually took the rule book with me after our first play when I realized, hey, we won this. And every other review I've seen said they have not. I actually watched one review where he said he's played it half a dozen times now and hasn't won yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we must have done something wrong. So I took the rule book with me one day to work and I read through it on breaks and lunches. And I'm like, we didn't do that. Oh, we forgot about that too. Oh, crap. We didn't do that either. Yeah, there were like 4 aha moments when I was reading the book. So it is a difficult book. I don't think so much it's difficult to understand. There's just a lot. There's a lot of little bitty moving pieces.
Yes.
Not trying to be funny with the little bitty, but you know what I mean.
So we did, look at the rule book and we referenced it as we played, but we did use the dice app to play the first couple of rounds initially on it. So that gave us an advantage on learning it quickly, being able to jump right in and start playing. It didn't give us any advantage on winning, apparently, but at least we got it to the table and we were able to play it rather quickly. So that was a boon, but and I think there were points, there was just so much jammed into it. That's the thing with the Tiny Epic games is they're trying to put so much into the boxes, especially when you get like Kickstarter specials. You can't even close the box. You got to pull stuff out. And then you've got this game that is so in depth, that's just got so much going on. Yeah. So they got to make the rule book and it's got to fit in the box. So they're using the tiniest print possible.
Yeah, I had to break out the readers for this one. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it.
So it's the rule book's probably fine. It's just intense. It's
fine. There's a lot of iconography in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that. And there are lots of iconography reference sheets that are not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think I noted there was also a reference sheet you could print off of either the Tiny Epic site or off of BGG that referenced all of the different cards. But it's 14 pages and there's no way you're fitting that in the box.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like I don't feel like it should have had to have that.
Right.
No.
But I don't know. So anyway, so rule book. Mark, your thoughts?
Now, I thought it was easy. I thought it was easy to find the sort of things that we were looking for. Yeah. So I will give them that much credit, definitely, without a doubt. But yes, it's a fat rule book for a box that size. And like you were saying, if it wasn't for the iconography references, we would have been. There's just so much, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think I'm with Jess on this. I think maybe at some point in time they ought to like move up to like moderately epic boxes. Slightly small, but not exactly tiny epic. Just so they could get a little bit more room in the box and be able to raise the print.
All right, Greg, do you have any comments on the rule book?
Nothing you haven't already talked, because I haven't really read through the rule book that much. I thumbed through it. I think I referenced those pages we got from BGG more than I actually referenced the rule book, because it was easier to find. I was like, oh, I need this tile. Oh, there it is. That's exactly what it said. Okay. Go on, instead of trying to flip through the rule book.
Looking for an icon,
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, those sheets are great. There's just 14 of them.
Yeah. But when it's just downloaded to your phone, I just
that's true.
I don't have to have them printed off.
Yeah, I started to print it off, and I thought, why? Where am I going to store this? So I've just got it saved on my computer. If I need it next time we play it, I'll just pull it out. So
yes, but as we've talked about before, the minute somebody has to pick up their phone during a game to look something up, you could possibly lose their interest because there's a text or a notification. So we don't want to do that if we can.
Well, if it was a bigger box, I would just print them out and put it in the box. I've done that for other games. No big deal. But
so what we're saying is the Tiny Epic series needs boxes like the West Kingdom series.
Yeah, there you go.
And the West Kingdom series needs boxes like the Ticket to Ride size boxes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree there.
Crabbit, they can just, move into each other's empty boxes.
There you go.
All right. So what about table presence? What kind of visuals do you think this one has? Greg, you want to start?
Go ahead.
Oh man, I gotta go first. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yep, you get to go first this time.
Well, we got the mats. We got the neoprene mats, so we had places to put everything. I could not imagine playing this game without it, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Putting those cards and trying to get them to line up right, it would just be a pain in the butt. And keeping them in place. Yes. I mean, because we used to have trouble keeping them straight on the mat itself anyway, but just laying it on a table or another game mat, I think, would take away from it.
Yeah.
Unless it's a black game mat.
Right.
But the presence, I mean, it's cool. You're building the dungeon as you go. The artwork's great. I do like on the playmat, though, where the goblins sit. Instead of having to fit it around that little card, they have a row at the bottom. Okay, this goblin's going up, so you place that card right there instead of having a separate space. Which there is on the mat. There's a separate space to put the goblin on to keep track of the light count of your torch counter. But I think it's all good. The biggest problem, but I guess that would go with artwork, so I'll wait.
Well, it's all part of table presence and visuals.
Why is the torch green?
Yes.
I kept thinking it was a tree.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to move the tree down. It's a
torch,
but it's green. It should be yellow or red or orange or something.
If Disney has taught us anything, it's that green light equals evil. Think about it.
Okay.
Design the torch differently. It looks like a tree.
A neon tree.
And the green does not help me not think it's a tree every time I
Well,
move it.
yeah, and even if you do the torch, even if you do like the handheld portion in brown, well, it's still gonna look like a tree.
Right. Yes, it just looks like a tree.
No, I definitely get that, and I'm with you guys. I would not have wanted to play this game without the mat. The mat added a lot. We also got the player mats, and I like how those are set up too.
Yep, we got those too.
So I would say y'all aren't really going to like this, but I feel like if you get this box set, you might as well just go to Gamelin Games and get yourself the whole bundle.
Unfortunately, it takes a $30 game and makes it like a $60 game, but
it's worth it, I think.
I think it's worth it. And it still travels well. Yes, you can play it without the mat.
Yes,
I don't want to, but you can.
Yeah.
They did set up the torch card to track all of your goblins. You can do it.
Yeah. This is
I
a
would
game
just go
that
for
it
an
comes in a
options.
small box, but it does not have a small footprint.
No.
It has a huge
It's a
footprint.
huge
Absolutely.
footprint.
The thing about the mat that kind of gets me, most time when people play games, they're going to, even if you just have two people playing the game, they're going to be sitting across from each other.
Mhm.
And this kind of like takes away that in a way, because it's like they're cat corner. You know, you've got one side on the mat that's nothing but draw piles, and then at the bottom, the other side, you've got the goblins. I think Mark and I are gonna have to sit at an angle from one another instead of across from one another, so that, I mean, even then we're still moving our game mats off to the side most of the time, because it's just it does take up some real estate. I mean, it's compact, but it's wide.
Yes.
It's very wide.
Yeah. Even with our table, we sat across from each other, but both of our player mats were off to one side away from the draw piles.
I imagine,
Greg just controlled everything on the bottom.
I imagine, if you weren't being all extra like us and had the mat and everything, you could, put your cards somewhere else. But, we're crying about our special mats.
First world problems.
First world problems.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that said, and I think this goes along with table presence too. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is the first Tiny Epic that I'm aware of that has actual miniatures.
Yes.
Yes.
And those miniatures are actually pretty well done for being. I mean, they're in line with like the stuff from Destinies, and they're a little bit bigger, I think, than the ones in Destinies.
Yeah.
So
for being a $30 game,
I give them.
They're thick.
They're great. Yes.
No, so I give them a lot of credit for that, and I like the fact that with the Kickstarter, and I'm pretty sure this holds true for everything. They did screen printed meeples for the enemies, and plus on top of that, you've got miniatures and meeples. So you've got miniatures, and those are your characters. You've got meeples, those are the bad guys.
Right.
That makes, from a visual aspect, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, it made it so easy to track everything on the board. You knew exactly where everybody was, because all of the minions have a separate meeple, which was crazy.
And they're numbered.
Yes.
Yeah. So all of the minions are separate. There's 4 completely different colored goblins. So it's super easy to track which one's which. Yeah, absolutely loved that. I thought that was component quality was fabulous.
Yes. I like the fact that the goblins were numbered, because if you go and finally you're pulling the 4th goblin up and you see that 4, is like, oh, we got to kill get another one out, because we don't have another one to put out, and now we're going to lose the game because of it.
Yep.
So I did like that. And the fact that the board can only spread out so far in each direction.
Yes.
7 by 7?
Yeah, 7 by 7.
Yeah. Three rows each way from the center stair.
Yep.
So that made it a lot easier.
Right. It's a way to lose the game, but yes.
It contained the game, so you're in one direction.
Yes,
it doesn't keep on going in one direction. So.
Yes.
All right. What about artwork? I thought it was very cute. It was in line with other Tiny Epics. I mean, like I said, the little card with all the sleeping goblins, it's adorable.
It is adorable.
Yes.
So I think they did a really good job on that. And like I said, the iconography goes into that, and there's a lot of it.
Yes.
But I think once you get used to it, it's pretty easy to tell exactly what they do. And most of the ones you see frequently, by your second or third turn, you know what they do. Yes.
Now, I thought they couched in a lot of the free actions, artwork wise, like there's, and I may not have noticed it if I hadn't like looked really close at the rule book or us through the Dice app. Like there's a free action on the torch mat. There's a free action on each of the player boards. There's free actions on, I wouldn't say all of the rooms, but most of the rooms. And some of those, I was gonna say some of those, you kind of gloss over them because you're looking at the artwork of the room and everything like that, and may not actually notice it.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate, that they made they made the iconography as clear as they could for free actions versus heroic actions.
Yes. Yeah, completely different colors. Same symbol, so you knew it was an action, but totally different colors. So yeah, I like that. And well, I should take that back. The outline was the same symbol. There was a separate symbol inside the icon.
Yeah.
Right.
So that differentiated as well as the color of it. But
they can stop with the World of Warcraft eyebrows on the elves.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Did not notice that.
This game had that big controversy when it came out because of the artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they changed it, and I'm fine with it. I mean, I agree with some people. I mean, women, the female characters don't always have to show everything they have.
Yes,
why do they get little bitty armor in the
I mean, that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
I was referring to the giant eyebrows, the ones that can stab a man if they turn their head. I don't give me all the chainmail bikinis. I don't care if the AC is the same. Bosom up, but those eyebrows have got to go. Someone has got to get some tweezers on these people. On the other side of the thing, the goblins were super cute, and I enjoyed their little names.
Yes.
Boomy, Stabby, Pokey, or whatever.
Stabby.
They were super cute.
Stabby,
Shooty,
Stabby. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So, well, we've talked about the rule book. We've talked about presents now, and we've glossed over gameplay. So let's dig into that one. So, gameplay. Is there a lot of AP? I didn't find any AP.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I'm wearing my analysis paralysis t-shirt today, but no, I don't think there was a ton of AP.
Yeah. I mean, you only had so many choices each round, and it was usually pretty clear, if I don't kill the goblin, he's going to kill me. So you pretty much had no choice.
Yeah, you move, you attack, or you try and do
rest
a trap.
or something. Yeah.
Or you rest.
Yeah, you
Not
rest.
A lot of choices, so.
Okay. Was it fiddly or chaotic or?
It was chaotic, but I don't think it was because it was fiddly. I thought the rules actually worked out really well together. I'll tell you one thing that I really like, for instance, I love the fact that when you roll the dice, you can choose to make the add-ons a base. All right. Yeah. And I also like the fact that if you can suit those numbers so that, like, say you've got to kill a goblin, all right, and he's got a 6, and you roll, you can piece together, like a 4+2 or something like that, and then use your other die to gain focus or health. Depending on what you roll. That's a really cool aspect of the game.
That's something I never really touched on when I was going over everything. So the way it works is you get 3 dice to roll, and then you have your monster die. That's their counter attack, essentially. So if you don't kill them, that's what they're going to do to you, plus any bonuses that they have. But with your 3 hero dice, every dice is exactly the same. +1, +2, a 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the 5 didn't have any extra bonuses on it if you didn't use it. The 6 had an extra health. The others all had some sort of extra focus on it. The problem is you couldn't, if you rolled 3 6s, well, guess what? Your score is a 6. You can't add to it. You have to choose one dice to use as your base. If you have a +1 or a +2, then you can add those to your 6. But that 5 doesn't add to a 6. That's 2 separate numbers. But yet, if you got all +2s, you could add those 3 together to be a 6.
Right.
But yeah, so I thought that was very interesting. And then any dice you didn't use, so great. I only needed a 6. I got a 6. I can use these 2 3s and this 3 and this 4 to gain extra focus.
Exactly.
And they give you a way. They give you a way to mitigate all that if you didn't roll exactly what you wanted, because you can spin the focus to raise the dice up or down by 1.
Right.
I mean, yeah, there goes all your focus, but you're not going to get hit by this goblin either.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like when you fought minions that had more hit points than just one hit, you had to sit there in some rolls and go, okay, well, I can spend this and this will knock them down 3 points. or I can spend this, only knock him down 2 points, but I get that extra focus back. So how am I going to handle it? Either way, I'm going to take a counterattack. So I think that adds a little bit of tactical depth that
it did. Yes.
I haven't seen before. And I'm sure, I mean, there's no new mechanics. I know that. And this has probably been done before. I just haven't played a game that had that sort of thing. And I really like that. That's a really nice mitigating sort of thing.
Yeah, this is the first game that I've seen this in. So
yeah. Where you have those kind of choices and the availability, the ability to mitigate.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then you had your equipment cards too. That actually helped you out adding stuff to yours.
Yeah, but I mean, there would be times that it actually made more sense for us to like say, okay, so I rolled a 6 and a 3. Well, it makes more sense actually for me to knock that down to a +2 as opposed to keeping that 3, which might give me more focus.
Right.
The fact that we haven't actually beaten the game, I think we've made it to the boss once. I can't remember. But I've been looking at people's advice on how to, beat the game. A lot of it comes down to strategy, obviously. That's how it normally works.
Always.
And since you're drawing these tiles, they recommend, and this recommendation was more geared for 2-player games, but since the minions are going to appear in those last 9 cards or in that 9 card spot, you want to try to start having those 9 cards come out around your entrance area. That way, when you're leading your boss on your merry little chase, your altars are more in one consistent area.
Yes.
The other thing that I saw people recommending was don't disarm the traps. That way, when you're coming through with the boss, some of these trap tiles actually give you opportunities to regain focus and health, which you're probably going to need. So haven't actually
have a couple of those.
Put any of these in action, but I thought they were I read them last night. I thought they were actually pretty interesting. I don't know if I'd have the presence of mind to actually make that last 9 card minion thing work out, but
yeah. I think we lucked into it last time where all of our minions were fairly close together. I think that I want to say one of the last minion cards was only 2 cards away from the boss layer entrance. So it worked out really nicely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I noticed that we went off in one direction. We tended to stick together all the time. And I'm thinking maybe we need to split up a little bit at first just to get through some of the beginning cards and power up a little bit. But at the same time, we got to the point there were 3 cards left on there. It's like, I know these were in the first 9 or 10 cards. I know they're nothing but maybe more goblins we don't need to deal with right now. So just ignore them. Let's keep going.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were able to just ignore that whole section of the board because we knew they were beginning cards just because of the way the deck is set up.
Exactly.
So that was kind of nice. That was our strategy in the last one. We actually made it to the boss. We dragged him out of his lair. We actually got him to the altar, and then we died. We ran out of light.
I love the concept that you have to taunt. You taunt the dragon. You taunt the boss and make them chase you.
Yep.
Just the possibility for table of anter.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we ever actually, successfully
get to that point,
make it through that point. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And the expansion. Have you guys played the stories yet?
We have not played the expansion. No.
The stories because our second play was we put everything in and we did one of the stories. We didn't do 2 stories. Thank God. We probably would have been murdered from the get-go, but we did actually get the first story taken care of right off the bat.
Oh, that's cool.
Fairly easy.
It was what
we had to give up equipment.
But we had to find a certain room or something like that.
Yeah. And we had to find a specific portal room and give up equipment.
Yeah,
send equipment or potion through the portal.
Yeah, so we got that taken care of though. Yeah. But it adds a lot more equipment and spells. And
that's cool.
Yeah,
stuff. And one of the cards that it adds in is the bedroll.
Oh, that was nice.
If you find the bedroll, make sure somebody can carry it, because this gives you, when you rest, it gives you, what is it? It's 3 more focus and 2 more health.
Yeah. On top of what you get when you rest, you get an additional 2 health and an additional 3 focus.
Nice.
All right. Well, I think we've covered ease of play. It is not.
No.
But it's still
ease of play is fine, because there's only a certain. Now, playing is the game easy?
Okay,
yes.
That's a good point.
No.
Ease of play is yes. Easy is no.
I think this has the same win ratio as like Ghost Stories will have.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe every 5 games you might be able to get a victory out of it.
Well, see, you guys are almost due.
Yep.
I was telling him, I'm like, you know what? If we can't figure this out, we're gonna house rule it and only move the torch after both of us have gone.
Yes, and I did see somebody recommend that as a house rule.
Yeah.
See, and what's the point of owning a game and playing the game if you can't ever win it? Then it becomes not enjoyable. What's the point of having it? However,
it keeps bringing you back.
I don't like to be beaten, so I think if we ever played it with Lyric, we would probably do the torch thing, just because she's 9. We want her to enjoy it. But I don't know. I think Mark and I can be pretty tenacious, and I don't know if we'll quite go that far yet.
Yeah. Well, but they, like you started to say, there's a point between, where was I going with that? Between being enjoyable and being, darn it,
masochistic.
No, I can't remember where I was going with it. And then I
lost her train of thought.
I did. Sorry. Totally derailed it.
It's a short derailment. But...
Oh, shush. I don't remember. I'll think of it later. I'm sure.
No, you spend that much money on a game. You want to enjoy it. You have every right to play it however you need to enjoy it. And that's fine. But it's just...
Yes. Agreed. Yeah. No, you want to be able to enjoy it. Agreed. And there is and maybe this is where I was going. There's a difference between wanting to go back and wanting to beat it and having that perseverance to do it, to keep getting drawn back to it. But at the same time, if you keep getting drawn back and you can't enjoy it, what's the point?
Exactly.
So, because it gets frustrating after a while when you cannot beat a game. So
yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't exactly as elegant as I wanted to word it. Well, this is true. We do keep going back to Ghost Stories. But it wasn't as elegant as I wanted to word it, but that was the main point of it anyway.
Words are hard.
Words, yes, when you've been up since 4:00 in the morning, yes, words are hard.
No, thank you.
Yeah, well, I work today, so. Okay, so that is Tiny Epic Dungeons in a nutshell. Any last thoughts?
No, I'm glad I'm very glad I backed this.
Yes.
I think this is I think this is a really good addition to the Tiny Epic line. I wish the box were a little less Tiny Epic, just because there's so much stuff.
There is a lot of stuff in it.
But by the same token, man, I'd be hard pressed to say that we've got another dungeon crawl, at least at this point, ones that we haven't seen yet excluded, where you can pull it out and feel like you can get it knocked out in an hour.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. And the production quality is good, just like almost all the other Tiny Epic games. Yes, the tiles are cards, but that's,
that's
no big. That's no big. It's got good production quality, and you can get it out there and feel like you're playing a good dungeon crawl. It's kind of hybridized almost. It's not really a dungeon crawl in that you don't have a lot of the extra rules that you have to deal with in a lot of dungeon crawls, but it still has that feel. And that's like really important.
That exploration feel.
Yeah, and getting that out in an hour, that's an awesome thing in my
even if you
opinion.
Can't win it in that time.
At least we can do it multiple times.
Right.
True.
We can lose a whole lot in an hour.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this one doesn't have the really deep storyline like a lot of your dungeon crawls have. I mean, it's just a
Right.
brief one, and like I said, stories adds. It's not really a story; it's an objective. So
for Mark and I,
if
the game doesn't have a gripping story or anything like that, a lot of times the interaction between the players can make up for that, because it's meant to be fun, and it can invoke fun conversation.
Yep.
Right.
I'd like to play this like a 4-player game.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Not just 2 players playing 2 characters.
So we can all lose together.
Right.
Yes, there you go.
So that is Tiny Epic Dungeons. Easy to play, little challenging to win, but definitely worth the effort. That being said, until next time,
keep losing.
keep losing.
Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.